Hello everyone, I'm Radrani and welcome to Zoom Speak Easy. I'm so excited to be talking to this filmmaker who has contributed so much to the Indian film industry. He's one of the very few people who still take that the mix of content and entertainment, messaging and entertainment is really important in society, and we need to celebrate that. Of course, you know who I'm talking about, of course, Mr. Rajkumar Hirani. Thank you so much for joining in, sir.
Thank you so much, Radrani. Good to be here.
Like I said, I would have loved to be doing this face to face, but maybe next time when you're. But congratulations on Dunki. It's
Thank
a
you.
film. It's a film that is getting so much love across borders, pun intended, and in the world. And also, it comes at a very interesting time because there was a belief that only certain kind of films are going to work at the box office. This is going to give a leash of hope to a lot of filmmakers who are still trying to do different things. So I'm going to start right there. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
You know, first, as you said, the film is definitely getting a lot of love from all over. I keep getting messages especially from US, UK. So all kinds of people, including people who've done these donkeys, who've reached there. They reach out to some people they know and they want this message to come to me. So people say very moving things, ki, we are missing a home, we want to be back. So, and array, this is our story, this is our true life story. And it's a unique story. हम ऐसी नहीं तो अच्छा लगता है ये सारी चीजें सुन के अच्छा लगता है कि because here I've always attempted to make a different story, something which has never been seen before. So whenever you make a story which has never been seen before, the fear is always there that you're trying to do something which is unconventional. Will it get the same amount of love which your earlier films have got? So वो एक fear रहता है. तो मुझे रहा पहले 2-4 दिन, पर अब धीरे धीरे I'm starting, a lot of families are going in, so it definitely makes you feel very good about it.
No, for sure. जैसे मैंने the second part of my comment I said कि एक अभी पिछले 2 साल भी देखे तो दौर ये था कि एक्शन लार्जर देन लाइफ फिल्म्स को बहुत ज्यादा प्यार मिल रहा था एंड व्हिच इज ग्रेट लाइक वी नीड ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ फिल्म्स राइट बट बहुत जन बोल रहे थे कि यार जो फैमिली वाले फिल्में होते हैं जहां हम जैसा कि हंस सकते हैं रो सकते हैं रोमांस वाली जो फिल्में होती है वो चल रही है लाइक देयर आर फ्यू फिल्म्स दैट वर्क शौकी रानी अदर्स जो फिल्म it was a leash of hope in between. And I think there was a lot of hope riding on donkeys because your films have managed to give massive box office numbers. But I'm saying this is because that's what people usually discuss, right? And have also been very particular on entertaining while telling something really important. So I would like your thoughts on why you also see this, I'm sure, as a very important feat and achievement. Especially now when it was being considered that it'll be difficult to break this.
See, I personally feel that trends keep changing for various reasons. If you remember a time when VHS came into existence, where people suddenly could watch a film at home. There was a time उसके पहले सब सिनेमा हॉल में जाते थे, फिर VHS आ गया. So a certain kind of viewers started seeing films on VHS tapes at home. So the kind of people who started going to the theaters became different. And those days we didn't have multiplexes. So a different audience started going. So more and more films of that category started getting made. But that doesn't make any film less or more. I think the moment we judge a film by box office numbers, I think that's a wrong parameter to judge a film by. You have to judge the film by few years down the line, which is the film you remember, how much love has it got. So I see so many films on OTT which have, not gone to the theaters, but they're such wonderful films. And you say, hey, ye kamal ki film hai. So they are aware ki there's possibly a smaller audience for it. The kind of people who like this film are possibly not going to the theaters. So I think a film should be judged by the content of it and the ambition and the intention of that film. Ki wo unhone kya koshish ki. So I actually really don't bother about or looking at that. I see कि यार फिल्म को कितना प्यार मिल रहा है, वो कोशिश करो और कोशिश करो कि हर बार एक नई फिल्म बनाओ, try and make a different film, something which they have not seen. And so these are the kind of films I have grown up on. Rishikesh Mukherjee films, these are the kind of films I like, and I guess I'll continue making these kind of human interest stories which excite me. So trends will keep changing completely. So I don't think I want to really worry about it and say some films will find a wider audience, some films will find a smaller audience. So finally, how much love one film gets is of utmost importance. And of course, every filmmaker makes a film to be appreciated. Very honestly, uh, uh, even somebody who's striving for a high box office number finally wants appreciation.
Yeah.
You obviously want box office numbers, but if you just get box office numbers and no appreciation for the film, you say, "Arey yaar, logon ko kya hua?" So for me, utmost importance is you take that much of time. I don't make too many films, and so I really spend all my energies on working on one film. So obviously, you want appreciation. तो वो मिलने लगा मुझे. I completely judge it from not from what I read. I judge it from the people, the way they talk, the messages they send, and within that also I'm not a very optimistic man at heart. I try to feel, मुझे ऐसा लगता है सब झूठ बोल रहे हैं मुझे, ये सब झूठी तारीफ कर रहे हैं, तो I try and read the body language, I try and read between the lines to judge. So from those things I understand कि there's a certain section who's really loved it to the core. Certain people might not, it's not their kind of cinema, but certain people have really, it's hit them hard and they walk teary-eyed, and I've seen it in trials कि बहुत रुला है यार इस बार, बहुत ज्यादा रुला दिया इस बार. तो ठीक है, our whole idea is to actually achieve some kind of emotion. You make them laugh, you make them cry, but idea is to evoke an emotion. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
You always wanted to work with Shah Rukh, and there have been two big misses, like he calls it. Shah Rukh himself has said that you were supposed to work with him in Munna Bhai, and even after that, but things really didn't work out, right? Like he had completely explained why it didn't, and it was a bummer. And this was meant to be because you wanted to work with him since 4G. Hannah, this was meant to be, right? So tell us a little on that, like how, and finally making this happen. It's been this actor director pair duo happening has been pending for a while now.
Yeah, it's been pending for a very long time. Since you mentioned this, I recall I was in the film institute, student there, and when you're close to passing out, your biggest worry is कि यार फिल्म बनेगी कैसे, कौन हमारे लिए फिल्म बनाएगा, कौन प्रोड्यूसर होगा, कौन एक्टर हमारे साथ काम करेगा. हमारे साथ तो कोई बड़ा एक्टर काम नहीं करेगा, हमको कोई नया एक्टर ही मिलेगा. So in those days, Shah Rukh used to be working in this one series, television series, I think Circus it was. So I remember one scene, he's performing on a platform and he did a monologue. And I remember sitting in the common room of the Film Institute and seeing him. He was relatively new and unknown then. I said, this guy is so good, yaar. So, and I said, okay, अच्छा मैं पास आउट हो जाऊंगा, मुझे 1 साल है, निकलूंगा यहाँ से, and I'll reach out to this actor. तो नया एक्टर कर लेगा. But by the time I could pass out, he was already a big star. So, then again, I had to wait till I wrote my first script. And with my first script, I remember reaching out to him, Munna Bhai, and he had loved the script. He wanted to do it. But for whatever reasons, that didn't happen that time. So it's been literally 20 years we've been wanting to work with each other. And this time, it happened like this, that when we met after Sanju was done, and we said, अब तो काम करना ही है, अब नहीं करेंगे तो कब करेंगे. तो अब जो भी स्क्रिप्ट होगा, लेट्स डिसाइड कि हम साथ में काम कर रहे हैं. और फिर whatever ideas I had, I remember 3 scripts to him, and he kind of liked this one. So then we started working on this. So he was also very closely seeing the whole process, the whole research. I used to keep sending him images कि पंजाब में ये देखा, पंजाब में देखा, ये मिला. And so he's been involved very long from that stage till this thing. And I should say that, yeah, it was a dream fulfilled, and it was complete joy to work with him. Complete joy.
Of course, fantastic. I think it was lovely to see, what you've created also on screen with him and with Tapsi and everybody else. And Vicky also was fantastic. Mr. Hirani, I want to understand where is the inspiration that comes from the story. There are so many theories going on. There are a lot of articles that come up and saying, this looks like the story from where it's inspired from. But I'm sure it's a mix of a lot of things, but I don't know. I would want you to tell us, like, where did that germ start from the original place? Because obviously extensive research has gone into it. Can't be just one story. But please tell us.
Yeah. So actually, the film you see is totally based on true stories. As you rightly said, it's not one person's story, but these kind of things happen. These are happening everywhere around us. In fact, there's so much more, and I really couldn't put all that in the film. So for me, what was amazing was that here in India, we live in cities. For you and me, to get a visa is not a difficult thing. We go and say कि हमको apply कर दिया, हमारा visa लग जाता है, हम सोचते ही नहीं. So it actually is something which doesn't resonate with us, that we think it's taken for granted. But there's an extremely huge population which actually cannot get visas because either you don't have enough money in your bank to show as your papers or enough education to show that. So there is always a fear with the first world countries ki if you give them the visa, will they go back to the countries? So for whatever reason, so if you're born here, you're condemned to be living here. You actually cannot leave the confines of your map because you cannot. So borders bind you by that. So मुझे ये थॉट बड़ा फैसिनेटिंग लगा कि यार ये ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है, क्यों, क्या इसका रीजन है, राइट और रॉन्ग, आई डोंट नो. ऑफ कोर्स आई एम नॉट, आई रियली कैनॉट, most films when I do a Three Idiots, I do have a point of view. I always say कि नहीं, education ऐसा होना चाहिए. When I'm doing a PK, I have a point of view कि these fake governments are fake governments. So you have a strong point of view, and in this film, I actually can't have a point of view. Why it's also different is I can't have a point of view. I am just projecting what is happening at the moment. That here are these people who, for a better life, want to go there. They're so innocent, they don't even realize that if they go there, they'll be illegals there for rest of their lives. And then they can't come back. If they come back, that life is gone for them. And then everybody ridicule them here. So they are stuck in time. 25 साल निकल जाते हैं. They can't come back to their homes. So I've tried to say this is it. This is what is happening. Now, solutions, it's a bigger political thing. Solutions need to be found somewhere else. I really can't offer a solution. I'm too smaller person. I'm just stating as a filmmaker कि ये reality है. और वो मेरे लिए एक interesting, in the search of unique subjects, you go somewhere there. So to me, it was a unique subject. Also because I thought, though it make you cry at many places, but there's also funny at some places, the way they do those English classes, the way they learn English to give those interviews, which I personally visited, saw many English speaking classes, sat in those classes, I put with a mask on, saying I want to do a trial class. So it became a fascinating world. And whenever there's a lot of information available on a world, I think you can get a story out of it.
Before I ask you a producer kind of question, I want to straight ask you that very famous monologue that is famous right now, that Vicky says it like as if he is reading it from the board. But I know I've spoken to one of your other actors who told me that he had done full ratta and he was not looking at the board.
No, he was
right.
not.
But those lines are so interesting when Shah Rukh says it or when they're all trying to sell. I want to know, where is the inspiration behind that? Is that a true story? Has that been picked up from somewhere, or what has happened? Because it's very interesting.
No,
it actually kind of works everywhere.
No, so it's not a true story. But what I figured out in those classes, that see, there was classes they claim कि हम 3 महीने में 6 महीने में आपको English सिखा देंगे, in 3-6 months you'll master the English, which is not possible.
Yeah.
So obviously they give them techniques within the class to figure out how to pass these exams. Because you'll roughly understand this sentence, you pick up these keywords, based on this thing you say this. So they're more than English at some places. I shouldn't be condescending ki every place it happens, but at many places I saw the attempt is to make them pass the exam more than really teaching them English. So that's what I wanted to do in the film. So this we devised. I don't think this happens like this exactly there, but we finally wrote a scene which we thought could be funny and make people laugh. And also not only Vicky, if you see the way that Anil Grover, who's playing Balli in the film, does it when he's giving the interview. उसने तो इतना 6 महीने rehearsal किया वो scene, and he's a new actor. But the moment he cast, we auditioned about the scene. Then every day would come to office, kept on rehearsing. Shah Rukh used to be joking. He said, it looks like he's come to this planet. He's been born to do this scene because he used to do it so well. and we shot it. He did it, and most of these are one shot. There are no cuts in that. We are just slowly tracking it, and all of them are one shots. Even Vicky,
most of the monologue.
both the monologue, what Vicky did and what Anil did, you see there are no cuts in that. It's the main lines, the whole monologue. We're just slowly tracking into them, and they've said the whole thing in one shot. Yeah.
Now I'm going to the producer question and then back to the film. You're one of the very few producers, and of course you've been a very secure director. Who is telling me that I genuinely really am not going to be getting bothered about the box office, because from the day one, because you have Shah Rukh, because it's you involved in it, they've been discussing about the clash with Salar affecting. And I want to know if you have thought about that as a producer here, and how much does that bother you? Because I see you in front of me. I really don't think you're the kind of person who's really spent that much time, but that can be my assumption. So I want your thoughts on that. Do you think that got affected? Would have been different? And of course, the fans from both sides really going crazy. हमने ये किया है, हमारे collections real है, ये है, which I think is a part of the game, but you've never played this kind of game. So I want to know, how have you looked at this side of the social media and about the box office collections?
So, I've been, one, I really don't, generally speaking, I don't understand business so well. Also, most of energy is going in making the film. This comes right at the end, and there have been always people who've been handling this. So, and also I've been lucky that most of my films have released solo. There's no other film in that period. So, obviously, if there's a single film, it will do better than that, because people who really want to go and watch it, there's a whole audience which wants to watch a film every week or 2 weeks. So they will go when there's no choice. They will go for a film. So that's my learning, that obviously a single film will get more business. Also, it's been a new world of social media discovery for me. My last film was 5 years back. So till then, it was a different world. We made films, we went out, did some interviews, we traveled to some cities, talked about the film and promoted it with certain amount of simplicity. So it's actually, very honestly, a different world I'm seeing. So I don't know what to believe, what not to believe, and all that kind of things are happening. So, but I guess things change, world is changing. So we'll have to slowly learn this game too.
Very honestly said, honestly. And my assumption was right then. You clearly are still that person, which is refreshing, right? In the industry, is always throwing numbers at your face. But on that note, you mentioned movie 5 years back, but let me also bring up the movie that it has completed 20 years this year.
Yes.
Congratulations on the completion of 20 years for Munna Bhai.
Thank you so much.
A franchise that continues to get the love it gets. Does that make you emotional when I bring this up, or when others, because everybody in the cast are putting out really long emotional posts, with Sanjay saying, I really hope that Munna Bhai 3 happens, and actors rarely do that. They're like, hum to kuch nahi bolenge. But Sanjay being Sanjay. So I want your reaction on that.
No, I definitely want to make more films, and I've realized in these, whatever 6 films I made, that making doesn't take time. Actually, once there's a clarity of what you want to do, a script is in place, the actual execution is not a process which takes time. It happens within a year. You can actually shoot to edit to everything you can do. What takes time is to find the right script, or to write the right script, something which you are confident and you say, this is, at least I'll have fun making this. I'm feeling good about it. See, finally, what happens at the box office, nobody on this planet can predict. So, but when you're walking that journey, you should feel, this I want to really make. To get that script is a challenge all the time. So we've been struggling. Abhijat, me, hum log baith ke likhte rehte hain. I really keep looking out, and somehow I think the world has started believing that I'm going to write my own script. So no script comes to me also. So I now, in fact, I've told these guys, please start finding scripts for me, even if they are like 50% there. So I'll spend less time, be able to have a script soon. And I genuinely want to make more films, because it's a great process. Maza aata hai banane mein, interaction. Otherwise, isolated, you are sitting, 2 people in a room and writing for a year. So sometimes more. So that is, I'm just hoping I get more scripts and I can make more films.
So no Munna Bhai 3 right
No,
now.
Munna Bhai 3, yeah. So yes, Sanju keeps regularly calling,
Remind.
and he actually stopped believing me now. I keep telling him, Sanju, I'm working, and when you work on a film, then you're totally dedicated to that film. So trust me. And I have 5 half-written Munna Bhai scripts lying with me, uh, which I've reached till a point I've not been able to crack the second half or the ending. And I don't want to make something which, for the heck of it, ki humne bana liya. In fact, I have a very good idea which Sanju is aware of also. And I said, if I can crack this is something which excites me in today's time. If I can crack this, I would definitely. So now, in fact, I spoke to him last week only. And he said, "हो गया आप Munna Bhai पे काम करो." So I said, okay, I'm going to dig that script out. We're going to sit on it and see if I can crack it. So, why would one not want to do? I had those my first 2 films, and I had such fun making those films. With Sanju, Arshad, Baman on the sets. It's always fun. They're all friends, and also it's always great to go back to that script, go back to that film. But you have to have a script which, you don't want to make an inferior film compared to the first 2 films. So I'm just battling to find a script which can make me feel, this is it, and I want to do it.
Okay. Last 2 questions. Because you said that you are trying to make more films, there were also these stories about how you might be collaborating with Ram Charan. Is there any truth to that at all?
No. That's something I also read in the papers, and sometimes I come to know many things what I did from the papers. I know Ram Charan, but I have not met him in many years. One morning I saw a news which said I would of course love to make a film with him. We've seen him in RRR. It was a fabulous job he did. So, but I have that news is absolutely not true.
So before I get into any other clarification about movie you're doing, I just want to ask you straight up: is there anything that you're working on that you can talk and give me a little hint on? Because I don't want to waste any question. You'll be like, "Arey, pata nahi."
No. Genuinely, you get so involved in one film that you really don't think about other things. So right now I have 2-3 scripts in the mind, which I'll wait for another 2 days, and from Jan first week I'll start.
You need a break. You can enjoy
Sitting.
this.
No break. Our fun is only this thing. I can't even. I think, where do I go? What do I do? I said I can't go. Sit somewhere and I'll get bored. So I'll dig into the scripts. There's one OTT thing we are doing, which
With
is already.
Vikrant Makia, I hear.
Yeah. So that's already in the pipeline. That actually starts. I'm not directing it, but producing it and the showrunner on that. So that will start. So some of my energies will go on that, but parallelly I'll start writing a script too.
So ending it with this. Shah Rukh's known as the king of romance, and you've beautifully always embedded love stories in whatever stories that you've done. And they've only made people feel like, why is this romance missing in our lives? You've obviously romantic love story angle is a very big part of Dunki. And I remember Tapsi was over the moon when you were discussing about how I get to do this with Shah Rukh.
Yeah.
Tell me, it's very tricky, right? Because everybody talks about how good he is, but as a filmmaker, also you want to do something that nobody's ever tried before with somebody and still get that essence out of him. I want to understand, how did you take forward that entire track, how it was discussing, and of course, and trying to vision both of them together the way you did it. Just want to let you know the question's a little long, but also people have noticed the Veer Zara references because you have that little scene where they are older and they are putting their heads together and they're like, oh, it reminds us of Veer Zara, which is a great reference because it was one of the love films. So I want to know how all of that came together, because it works, right? It's beautiful. Like you look at them and you're like, kash ye hota, right? Koi itna pyar karta.
So, I'm, in fact, I've always been blamed that love story नहीं बनाते हो यार, आपको love समझ में नहीं आता है. तो मुझे शुरू से हर फिल्म में बोला गया है कि आप love stories बनाते हो, stories are very hero-centric. And I remember attempting, after the first film, I was told that. So when we were writing the second script, Lage Raho Munna Bhai, I put in a lot of effort to write extremely interesting scenes for Vidya in that film. कि इसको हम थोड़ा, क्योंकि Sanju is in love with Vidya, the radio jockey, तो हम उसको लिखते गए, बड़े अच्छे सीन लिखे थे. फिर जब पूरी स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ते थे, when we used to read the whole script and we used to feel कि अरे यार ये सीन पे आके कहानी रुक रही है, something is not working in this. then Abhijat said a very interesting thing. He said, certain films are very hero-centric. You take a Chaplin film, and if you try to make it a romantic thing, it won't fit in. So this is a Munna Bhai film, so let's focus on this film. So वो नहीं होता कई बार. So this film, actually, there was an opportunity. But to be honest, again, these things don't come very naturally to me. I am still caught up by a very interesting world. I see the world of, say, even if it's PK or education or these. तो मेरे को वो उसमें उसके characters, I get caught up in that world. But of course, this did have a love story, and Shah Rukh, being a master at that, he would come to me and he says, you watch this, how I'm going to do it. Like many times he said it, and he would really surprise you. Like that scene after the courtroom, when he's being taken up in the police car and Tapsi runs down, and it seems like she's going back to him. And she says, take care of yourself. I'll miss you. And Shah Rukh said, look what I'm going to do it. And there's no way a director can tell somebody to do it like that. He did something with his face of betrayal that has happened to him and all that. Similarly, in the last scene, he was very confident. He says, romantic scenes, don't worry, leave it to me. I'll do it very well. And so nobody can do it better than him. So I didn't have to worry about the romantic parts. That was being taken care of by Shah Rukh.
And I'm sure pleased with Tapsi as well, right? Because
yeah. No, Tapsi was, of course, Tapsi is fabulous in the film, I feel. I saw her in Manmarziyan and I cast her after that. So she understands that world of Punjab very well. But she's, usually played those very fearsome roles, aggressive, fighting. And she had to look very vulnerable and look different. And she did that. Initial 2-3 days, we were struggling with each other, trying to get... I was trying to understand the way she operates. She was trying to understand the way I operate. But after 2 days, we kind of got there. And then she was quick. And she's very quick. She puts in a lot of effort in 2-3 takes. Actually, she's up there.
At the end, it all worked out. I mean, look, that, the impact Vicky's character made, and people are still talking so much about that.
Yeah.
Really, I had a lot of fun right now decoding a lot of things with you.
Thank you.
I hope you had fun as well.
Absolutely.
But this has been wonderful. And Mr. Hirani, I hope that you continue to be exactly who you are and make these films that are just so full of joy and, also in some ways are trying to make the world understand and have more empathy. So thank you once again. And once again, congratulations for Dunki.
Thank you so much, Rajkumar. Thank you so much. It was wonderful, really wonderful talking to you.
Thank you. Bye.